For Jack Miller and Yamaha, last weekend's Austrian Grand Prix at the Red Bull Ring was nothing short of a nightmare. All four Yamaha riders found themselves languishing at the very back of the field, finishing in the bottom four positions. For Miller in particular, the weekend was a series of frustrations. Only 20th in qualifying, 17th in the sprint, and 18th in Sunday's main race. It was a painful reminder of just how far Yamaha have slipped in the competitive order of modern MotoGP. But there is no time for self-pity. The championship marches on, and next up is brand new territory MotoGP's debut at Hungary's Balaton Park, a 4.1-kilometre circuit that is as divisive as it is intriguing. With its 17 corners, 10 left and 7 right, the track is narrow, technical, and designed with a stop-and-go rhythm more reminiscent of world superbikes than the fast-flowing nature of traditional Grand Prix venues. While some riders have raised concerns about the suitability of Balaton Park for MotoGP machinery, including world champion Pecco Bagnaia, who openly questioned its safety and racing spectacle, Miller is one of those embracing the unknown. As we saw in superbike races, this is a stop-and-go circuit, narrow and technical, Miller explained. We'll have to see how MotoGP bikes cope with all the devices, ride height adjusters, aerodynamics, and so on. Will it be easy or impossible to overtake? In superbike, it was very difficult. The Australian, now Yamaha's satellite hope, remains pragmatic. While acknowledging the limitations of the M1 on stop-and-go layouts, he also sees the value of bringing fresh variety to the championship calendar. At the end of the day, it's a new circuit and we need that. The best thing about the MotoGP calendar is having a mix. Tight technical tracks like Balaton or Sachsenring, and then the high-speed classics like Phillip Island and Brno. Both bring their own flavour. Yamaha's fundamental problem in recent seasons has been clear. The M1 is no longer the benchmark machine it once was. Lacking acceleration and struggling with rear grip, the bike is particularly exposed at stop-start circuits, where explosive drive out of corners is critical. That was made painfully obvious in Spielberg, where Yamaha were effectively spectators in both the sprint and the main race. Balaton Park threatens to expose those weaknesses all over again. Unlike Austria, however, its narrow confines may limit outright horsepower advantages, potentially giving Yamaha a small lifeline. But as Miller himself admits, if overtaking proves difficult, qualifying and track position will be absolutely decisive, and Yamaha have consistently struggled to put their bikes near the front on Saturdays. When asked which type of circuit suits him best, Miller was honest. The fast-flowing ones are the most enjoyable. You can really experience the full thrill of a MotoGP bike, but technical circuits can be fun too, in their own way. That admission comes with a reality check. Fast-flowing tracks may suit Miller's attacking style, but right now Yamaha cannot rely on any particular layout to mask its shortcomings. The M1 simply isn't competitive enough across a season where Ducati, Aprilia, and even KTM continue to push the envelope. The Hungarian GP will be a crucial litmus test, not only for Miller but for Yamaha as a whole. If they suffer another weekend of running at the back, serious questions will be asked about the direction of the project and whether the Japanese giant can realistically mount any kind of recovery in the coming years. Balaton Park may be new, but for Yamaha the story feels painfully familiar. A battle for survival against the relentless march of their European rivals. If Spielberg was ugly, Hungary could be uglier still unless Miller and his teammates can spring a surprise. Beyond the technical challenges, there is also a psychological battle looming for Yamaha. Consecutive poor weekends can quickly drain rider confidence, and in MotoGP that mental edge is often the difference between survival in the midfield or being swallowed at the back. For Miller, who thrives on aggression and momentum, rediscovering self-belief at Balaton Park could be just as important as any mechanical upgrade. The Hungarian round also places Yamaha under scrutiny from its passionate European fanbase. Eastern Europe has been starved of premier-class racing for decades, and with Balaton Park's MotoGP debut, expectations are high for a spectacular event. If Yamaha again fail to deliver even a top 10 finish, the optics will be damaging, reinforcing the narrative of a manufacturer struggling to keep pace with the modern era. There is, however, a small glimmer of optimism. Balaton's slower, twisty corners may prevent the Ducati and KTM powerhouses from fully exploiting their acceleration advantage, giving Yamaha the chance to close the gap in corner entry and mid-corner speed, traditional strengths of the M1 when it is working at its best. If the riders can qualify higher up the order, the tight nature of the track could make defensive riding more effective than usual. Still, the reality is harsh. Yamaha arrive in Hungary with more questions than answers. The Austrian GP brutally exposed their weaknesses, and unless significant overnight progress has been made, Balaton Park risks becoming another sobering chapter in their ongoing struggle. For Jack Miller, the weekend is not just about points. It is about proving that Yamaha can still fight, even when the odds are stacked against them.